Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, please.
Package for the senator.
Hello, please.
Sign here.
Yes, hello, please.
Thanks, lady.
Yes, hello, please. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I should. No. Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. I said, yes, no, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. He is absquatulated. Yes, no, maybe. Maybe I should. No. Yes.
What do you make of it, Bruce?
The real thing.
Serious stuff.
In basic English, I would say the real thing, serious stuff.
What do you mean? Cripes! It's hypoallergenic. I'm ill on account of it.
Bag it, Dot.
Cripes, you guys.
Okay, Dot. Just bag it.
Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe.
The photograph's decked out, Bruce. She fell down on account of them.
Eileen, at best, she's not up to much. I mean, Eileen, why does she do this thing? Why does she do this thing of, hello, Senator X's office, nothing of value inside, please? Senator X is not Bob's name. And this other stuff, crazy.
Bruce, I do this, hello, Senator X's office, nothing of value inside, please, thing at the request of surveillance, who is afraid for Senator Bob's life after he said the speech Eileen wrote for him about the Arabs being an insect. No, not you. Yes, no, maybe. Bruce, you crossed my wires.
She's got feelings, Bruce.
Eileen, at best, she's not up to much, especially if these photos decked her.
Okay, bag it, Bruce. I've got feelings, you've got feelings, everybody's got feelings, they deck them. It's normal to be decked by one of them when they're
The photos
like this.
aren't
Okay, Bruce.
normal, but it didn't deck
Second.
me, Eileen. I fell over on account of lunch hour having come and gone, and no lunch. Cripes, Bruce.
Sorry. I was trying, okay?
But they sure aren't normal.
Bag it, doll, okay? Maybe they are a fact of some, maybe they are an evidence.
Maybe it's a dilemma.
We could be, they are personal.
Quiet, I would say so.
Are those people doing that?
They're not cows and pigs, Bruce.
I was being euphuistic, Eileen.
You're a scholar, Bruce.
Maybe it's a dilemma. These two ones here. He's got to make a choice somehow. He has to.
Why do you say that?
Look at that there.
True. Urgent.
And this arm here. Whose?
Is that a face, Eileen? Whose?
Oh, look at that one.
Which?
That one there.
Wow, is that one real?
Very funny, Eileen.
I was not making light of it. I was just of a mind, too, actually. If this is what a person means when they are consorted, so to speak, and in the case of having sex, you know, maggot Bruce.
You would call that?
No, I would not call that. Did I call that an instance of that? No.
Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. Is he in today ever, Senator Bob?
Baggett dot.
You're getting heavy-lidded from looking at that.
We're not looking at that. We're just, that's unusual.
No,
Yeah.
not you. Hello? Hung up.
That?
No, that.
I don't think so.
I know what you mean to say. You mean to say you've had experience with that, with one such as that. Baggett Bruce.
I was not saying that. I was saying something else.
You're making a claim.
I was not making a claim.
Making a claim, Dot.
He is always making claims, Eileen. Cripes!
Why are they on a chair like that with no clothes on?
Eileen, please, can you not please use your imagination? This is a possible evidence. You are agitated. Please, Eileen, do not become agitated because you know how you get and how the boss feels about getting that way when you do.
Baggett Bruce.
Anyway, that is not an arm. No, I would not say it is an arm.
What are you saying, Bruce? Baggett Dot. That is not that, Bruce. That is something else because the light is not so bright in the photo. It's a somewhat dark place where they are, clearly, so a big mistake is possible. I think it's maybe a piece of clothing.
Bob will want to know what it is and why you are taking so long at it. This is maybe important stuff.
Not Bob, Dot. He is, you will recall, a senator. Hence the name is
shut up,
Senator
Bruce.
Bob.
You are an exasperating person, really.
Eileen, don't look at more. You're starting to get, wiggly.
Baggett Bruce, I am not.
Women get wiggly when they look at the real thing. Well, we men do not, having been hardened by the war experience and hardship, growing up in law school and the rest. Money, responsibilities. It's awful. I don't know how we put up with the pressure, but we do. At least some of us do, if we are not stabbed in the back by our women and those on the left and in the opposition party, those who do not want us to succeed. It's true. All of it. I swear, Eileen, You're a sweet kid, but you don't know how bad a place the world is, having been a girl at some, I bet, Ivy League place where they're permissive about stuff, about people who can do that. And that, and that, and can you believe that a man would do that? A full-grown man doing that? Oh, your background is too nice for understanding of how gross and disgusting people can be. I mean, I think you're a liberal underneath your clothes and your underwear. All women are. Even Dot, who is more low than we, but has the privilege of working on this
I
staff.
think I will
Even
change.
when it's
I think I will
awful.
not let this bother me. I think I will use this as an instance to
I went to
my
Bob
purpose.
Jones University, and I know how people get twisted by false gods and how a life of crime awaits all those who get weak and experiment with drugs, atheism, and the real thing. That, I mean, and that, I mean, will you get a load of that? Eileen, for Pete's sake.
That is not that, Bruce. So just bag it. That is the radiator and not an active participant. So just bag it, Bruce, because where do you get off saying those things? Drugs are not on my resume. Atheism is not on my resume. Have you looked at my resume, Bruce? You're a silly goose, Bruce. So just bag it.
Look at that there.
True. Urgent. Wow. And look at that one.
Which?
That one there.
Wow. Is that one real?
Very funny, Eileen. Ha ha. You would call that? That?
No, I would not call that that. Should I call that an instance of that? No.
Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe. Is he in today, Senator Bob?
Bag it, Dot. That's unusual. That.
Bag you, Eileen. No, not you. Hello? Hung up.
That? Are you asking, is that an instance of that?
No. That.
I don't think so. I was not saying that. I was saying something else.
You were making a claim.
I was not making a
He was
claim.
making a claim, Dot.
He is always making claims, Eileen. Cripes!
Why are they on a chair like that with no clothes on?
I was shocked by those photos. I do not see either of you, Cripes, being shocked as I think you like those things they are doing like that. The animals, I think you both want to look at that stuff too much, not to be Cripes, suspicious. And when the senator gets back, I plan to ask him for a raise. I did not come to the Hill to be exposed to a moral vice as with this experience. All 7 photos remind you of what you're not supposed to think, each one worse than the other. And you both pretend to be Christians. Cripes, I am truly shocked by this. Not to mention that sick. I never thought of bending over like that. And wow, you sure are lapping it up. Ha!
Bag it, Dot. This is work. Documentation of evidence.
I feel unstable.
Ha ha. What's wrong, Bruce? Did the putty dot from Tuscaloosa poop his panties? You putz. The real stuff got to you. I can see. All 7, each one worse than the other. Wow. What a man. What a tough-minded young Republican. No American Enterprise Institute for you. Bosoms. No. The real stuff gives you the wiggles, too. Brucey better take his crackers and milk and curl up for his little nap and his little blankie. Wow, what a man. What a tough-minded young Republican. No American Heritage Foundation for you. Bosoms. No, the real thing's got you a little dizzy, huh? Brucey better take his crackers and milk and curl up on his little blankie for his little nap.
I felt unstable is all.
You sure are lapping it up, both of you, Cripes.
Bag it, Dot. Do you think that is what it actually looks like? Or how else do you explain what it really is if that's not right? I mean, well, if what we are seeing is photos of stuff, say,
The real thing, I would say.
that may be doctored, maybe.
They sure look healthy to me, Eileen.
Ah, very funny, Bruce. You are a wit. Dot. Bruce is a wit. Bag it, Bruce.
The photos may be doctored to emphasize that and that, for instance, though why is beyond me. I mean, why they would need to emphasize that any more than That is unclear to me. Perhaps in the light of day, we can see a clear evidence of tampering, perhaps at the lab. Do we have access to a lab of some sort, Dot? Do we?
Hello, Senator X's office. Hello, nothing of value inside, please. Please don't steal our stuff. Yes, no, maybe.
Dot is circumscribed, Bruce, so don't bother her. But yes, we do have a lab, but it's not Congress's. The lab, I mean, Congress does not have a lab for this, but surveillance does. And that is the surveillance that watches out for stuff just like this. Bad stuff meant to injure the mind and screw up public morals. We need to be wary because stuff meant to injure the soul exists aplenty, and people too. People who do this and this and this and this one. Wow, I did not see that one.
That one was on the bottom, being the worst.
That one is clearly the worst. I did not think bodies did that. Bodies do not have things like that on them. Look, Dot, look at that thing there.
Wow.
That one is clearly the most worst. But that thing is not a part of that body. No, Eileen, it's much worse because see that body over there? That one with the hair on it? See it there?
There, no. That could not possibly belong to that. It couldn't fit on her.
That part
My.
is not a part that is on anything. It's a part that is normally inside. It's not meant to be seen. See?
If it's not meant to be seen, that part, then I've never seen one. I would know if I had. And so, Dot, take a look at this thing. Here.
Where? That one? Which?
No, this part here. It's not what we think it is, maybe. Sweet Jesus, I hope for their sake it's not what it looks like, because that would make me ill. I knew some parts are capable of bending and being bent, stretched, and wiggled in ways that suggest all kinds of stuff that decent people try not to think about. But the human anatomy, Dot, how can it be so unstable as to do that to itself and say, hey, I'm normal, I'm okay, I'm just having a fine time. But sweet Jesus, I hope for their sake it's not what it looks like, because they never told us about this or that at the Dartmouth Review when we tore down the ugly shanties of those colored people who... You mean to say, Bruce, do you mean to say that part there is normal? That is normal only when it is inside that other part way over there? Oh no, I can't believe that. That is not how nature is supposed to be. They never said that could be bent or flexed like that at the Dartmouth Review when we tore down the shanties of the colored people, of the Indians, and of the other liberals, because that part is not normal. That part should not be distended to such an extent that it flares out like that. It might pop. It might pop and burst. And the stuff inside, wow, it trickle down the sides here. And oh God, that part's not where God intended when he placed it. Modestly nestled like a little pink wildflower inside nestled like a little pink wildflower in the woods thing there in the soft.
It's not what you think. It's not that. It's something else. So calm down, Eileen. It's only a picture. A picture can't torture and rape you. A
Just can't
picture is a
torture and
picture.
rape your mind, Dot. I mean, can you imagine that being bent and wiggled and so forth and stretched and so forth like that? I mean, look at the look on her face, the pain, the intense anguish of the poor thing. A picture can do these things. I know it, and so do you, which is why you are here and not down the hall working for Senator so-and-so, who represents a state where the kind of behavior is all too common, Dot. A picture can't too torture and hopelessly maim the insides of you and can destroy the outside of the inside part of you, like that poor girl there that Bruce is looking at. And not helping me to argue the point, because that photo, like the one before, and the one before, and the one before, and the one before, and especially the one before that, and the one we saw first, that now seems tame, almost innocent, one might say by comparison, have turned his brain to mush. Look at Bruce, Dot. Look at his eyes, how empty and ill they are, like an animal who's seen too much of human life ever to be animal again. They never told us about the look in those eyes at the Dartmouth Review when we were tearing down the shanties of the colored people and the other people and the Indians and the rest. I feel tortured and maimed by the impact of these pictures upon the insides of my brain. So just bag it, Bruce. And you too, Dot, bag it. Just really bag it.
Eileen, calm down. Eileen, it's only a picture. A picture can't torture and rape your heart. A picture is a picture, Eileen. It can't do that or that. If you want to be destroyed by a picture will destroy you, like Bruce there. But Bruce is sick anyway, Eileen. We both have seen how sick Bruce is at office parties, Eileen. It's a fact. Cripes. So don't get so worked up. I have seen all this before back in Oil City, Pennsylvania. We had this, and even that astonishing part there, even though it was not so swollen as that, and I never saw such clear photos of the whole thing and so many participants all in one room at it, I knew such things happened because it was a fact they were not talked about. And you can be sure when an activity is not being talked about, it is going on. It is definitely going on when it is not being talked about because, Eileen, you go figure. If you were in an activity like that, or even that astonishing part there, that part you said should be more normal, and someone decent came up to you from the church, say, or an elderly person in a position of power, or a family member you're supposed to look up to for advice in troubled times, times like these, Eileen, times like the ones the senator has spoken about in the speeches you have written for him, or in the restrictive legislation that Bruce there. Would you get a load of wacko Bruce there? Wow, what a sickie! What a sex fiend's look in those eyes, Eileen. Bruce, are you drooling? Bruce is drooling. Eileen, look at the drool on his sleeve. Oh, God, I hope it's drool. Oh, please, God, let it be drool. And, Eileen, the point is, I was trying to say, before Bruce began to drool, that if you were in an activity like this, or that, or even that astonishing part there, that part you said, should be more normal. If you were such an activity and someone came up to you, like the senator or the reverend, a good, decent person who talks on the TV about God and stuff and how you should behave and observe God's rules and listen to the speeches you write for the senator and support the restrictive legislation that is drafted in this office by Bruce. Sick, sad Bruce, at least when he is not drooling over dirty pictures. Would you not, being that healthy, unspeakable act, simply reply, go to hell? Mind your own beeswax because I am having a good time. Thank you. Mind your own beeswax because I am having a good time. Thank you. Go to hell. Goodbye.
Doc, shut up. Eileen, shut up. I'm not a pervert. I'm a man who does his job. I'm examining these photos because of them being sent to the senator by a delivery person, and therefore they are evidence of a smear. Yes, Eileen, I am capable of seeing through these photos, even this one, which I confess is strong stuff. This one is more than the real thing. This one is abnormal, even by the sick standards of the sex-obsessed subnormal person who took it and all the rest, because this photo cannot harm you. It cannot make you sick unless you are sick already. But if you are sick already, it can make you more sick than before. That is true, and I resent that crap, Dot. About me and my drool. That was unfair. I was doing my job of work here while you and Eileen stood and yelled at each other and then yelled at me. I do not call yelling at my colleagues work. No, but maybe I'm old-fashioned and not with it, as you hit people say. As you hit people say with your clubs and your discos and at your Dartmouth College when I did not come from no damn high-class Eastern liberal establishment family, but was always working my paper route while you played, Eileen, while you partied and played. I was lower middle class. And that hurts, Eileen. That hurts because of not being allowed to the country club dances where girls like you wear white gloves and are debutantes and do stuff like coming out and stuff. I know what that stuff is. All that debutante stuff and how you all go on to Dartmouth College and pretend to be conservative. Yeah, pretend, Eileen, pretend, because I went to Bob Jones University, which is where you go if you're the real thing. Conservative, Eileen. I know what that stuff is. All that debutante stuff. How you wear white gloves and are debutantes and do stuff like coming out and stuff. But Dot and me, we know because we have to work for our daily bread. And not like you. We know you're faking it when you write those speeches for the senator. Yes, Eileen, your heart's not in it, Eileen. Face it, Eileen, you're an imitation.
Bag it, Bruce.
Oh,
Just go bag
because
it.
I bet you know. I bet you know. I bet you know what that is. And that. And that. And this. And that. And that you've done that with this and that. I just bet. Because I know you rich kids have access to drugs and stuff. And do all the things that are in these 7 photos. Yes, I'm not an idiot, Eileen. Because all rich kids know what that is, and that thing there, which is supposed to be over there, is the source of indescribable joy if it has ever been over there like that, in a sick and twisted way, even if that rich kid joy is loathsome and morally reprehensible and un-American and so forth and so on. And I bet that these people here, these sick and depraved people in these photos, are friends of yours from Dartmouth College, where you claim you worked on the Dartmouth Review, where you claim you did patriotic activities like tearing down the shanties of the colored people and the Indians and the liberals, when all the time, Eileen, you were up to no good doing stuff like this and that. And even this one here. Wow, this one sure got to me. Wow.
What in the name of Sam Hill has happened around here? You all look like you got poison ivy on the back of your eyeballs.
These came in the mail today, Senator.
They certainly did not come in the mail. They were expressed here. Cripes, Bruce.
What were expressed here today?
These. Take a look. You'd better sit down before you take a
That
look.
would be wise, Senator.
I did not sit down before I took a look at them, only I fell down. Then I got adjusted, and now I feel fine. But these two, you would not believe how these two have been carrying on. I mean, it's only a picture, and the two of them are having a fit. Yep, a regular conniption like you never saw
I
such
get that.
things people have between their legs.
Hey,
before.
show me.
I would advise deep breathing if you feel fit, Senator.
Film would you say it is? Is here fast or slow? I'm a bit of an amateur photographer myself.
What is that there, would you say?
What is what?
That there.
That?
Yes, that.
Well, I don't know. Let me look.
That is a blowjob.
That is not a blowjob. That is the Pope.
That is a blowjob, Senator. We've got about 7 of them right here in this office. Someone sent us 7 photos of this blowjob type behavior, and we're deeply concerned.
I still say that's the Pope.
It does look like the Pope, with no clothes.
I better get my reading glasses. Where the hell are my reading glasses? I always leave my reading glasses by the ant farm. Who, by God, whose idea was it to move the goddamn ant farm? I can't do no reading without the ant farm. I leave my glasses next to or on top of the goddamn ant farm.
There they are, sir, in the ant farm, with ants all over them.
Boy, do they ever swarm when they swarm. Cripes. Do you suppose they're making a meal of your reading glasses?
Go clean these off. Who sent these photos, Bruce?
We don't know, sir.
You did not ascertain, Bruce, who sent them? You did not do this, Bruce. I cannot believe it. Dot, who sent them?
Well, now, let's see. It's got to be here in the waste paper basket.
What a bunch! What a royal bunch!
I think it was Senator so-and-so, the guy from down the hall.
See, Senator, look, see that thing there, and that one too.
Oh, me! Oh, my! That is a blowjob! Wow!
No, Senator, that's not the blowjob. That's a borzoi dog that's chained to the banister. You can see it's a split-level den of iniquity. This den of iniquity is but the blowjob is over here by the potted plant. Now, this blowjob is a mild case compared with this one there. This one decked Dot. Isn't this the one that decked you, Dot?
Eileen, what a thing to say. I've
Bruce.
seen worse than that back in Oil City, Pennsylvania. No, what decked me was that one there, that fuzzy area.
Believe me,
No, it's
Senator.
not on that one.
This
It's on
one
that
decked Dot. She was out cold. And Bruce here, sick Brucey, why, he got all, wiggly. And this after saying how we women get wiggly when we see stuff like that and that. And that, we'll just look at Bruce and tell me who the wiggly one is. Bruce there's drooling again, see? And that kind of abject drooling is as close to the state of being incurably wiggly as you can get. Yes. And then there's this one, and this one, and that one, and that, and this really scary one.
Oh, me. Oh, my.
But for my money, this one is the worst. See it there? Because we had a discussion, Dot and me, and Bruce too. This was before he got wiggly, when his drooling was under control, or at least he was better capable of controlling it.
Oh, my God. Would you get a load of that? Is that?
Yes, Senator, that is that. And what's worse, Dot and I surmise that this thing here is the thing that is normally inside here. But pardon my French, it got stretched way out to here by their exertions. Now, I certainly would know, but I do know that that there is not supposed to go all the way there. It is against the law of nature for a human thing to be distended like that, all flared out and in full view, and that look on her face.
It's not a look on her face. That is a look on his face. Face facts, Eileen.
Bruce.
Right. Eileen, it's only a picture.
Dot, that is a picture of an unnatural act. An act we knew about when I was growing up back in Mad Wolf, but we did not have a name for it. Bruce, are you all right, Eileen? Bruce is not all right. Go get him a glass of water.
Dot is the secretary. I'm the administrative assistant. Why must I get Bruce a glass of water? It really bothers me. Really, 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 really.
Dot and Eileen would not be familiar with an act of that kind, and I did not know the name of that act myself, although I knew it occurred to people who are not right in the heads. But the name of that act, the name of it I did not want to know because the name of it is forbidden, it is un-American, and it leads to saggy eyelids. And if you say to an act like that, calm down, boy, you are not acting right, why, it'll just sneer at you and say, go to hell. Mind your own beeswax. I'm having a fine old time. Thank you.
That is just what I said, sir. That's exactly what
There's
I said.
no such thing. Dot is such an errant
Is
exaggerator.
two.
Bag it,
Cool
Dot.
down, Eileen, cool down, and you get him out of here. All I know, monster act, a blowjob like that means one of two things, either smear or surveillance. And we got to find out which. Doc,
Yes, sir.
Doc, call the Reverend, and find me the file on Senator so-and-so, our surveillance on his surveillance.
Yes, sir.
And Eileen, help Bruce clear out his desk.
Yes, sir.
I'm fired?
Yes, Bruce, fired.
Why?
But, sir, Senator so-and-so died day before yesterday. You sent flowers to the widow, sir.
Flowers to the widow, indeed.
But sir, why?
Get this free-bird out of here, Eileen. Some job like that is just the
Dot
tip
is
of the
the
iceberg.
secretary. Yeah, I'm the administrative assistant. Why must I help Bruce clean out his desk? It really bothers me.
But why, sir?
Would you get a load of that? You are not right in the head, Bruce.
This is it, Reverend Tom. This is it. Dot says this is it. This is the fatal blowjob, the blowjob in question.
It looks like a pekingese to me.
You're looking at the wrong part, Tom. That's the part with the incriminating thing on its what's this? That thing out there, wiggly. That part there.
No, that cannot be that. That really cannot be that. Way over there. Christ on a Christmas tree. I mean, that defies describing it being all the way over there. How in the name of saltpeter could it get all scratched out like that? Wow. I mean, I've seen some things and you would be amazed what you see in the God business, because it sure as hell is business and it therefore ought to be run as one. But the soul, even the precious purity of the Christian soul, even in its infrequent state of being saved, this human soul is attached to a human body by a thing like that. And there's the rub. And that rub is where the trouble starts, because if you rub a thing like that, a thing like this thing here, well, up jumps the devil. And the devil is a creature of rubbing, touching, scratching, and all of them contortions the human body is heir to. It don't matter what you do about it. You are in a fallen state. And to look upon a scene like that one, there and there. Wow.
That one is the one that did in Bruce. That one, and the way the thing is there, you see the face between the other parts, the leer there on that face. That did in Bruce. Bruce started to drool at that. That did not have that effect on me, though I'm not.
As for that, Bruce, fuck the dumb fuck was no fucking
that
good.
You didn't see this one, did you? This one here, this one did something not right to me in my head part, so I refused to look at it, except for a little peek every now and then just to see if it's still there and if it still has that powerful effect on me, so that my knees knock and my head swims and I dare not think about what else is going on elsewhere and nowhere where it should not do.
Eileen, you are a picture of what a soul ought to do to be saved. Not to look at the devil's work is the mark the good Lord leaves on the water, Eileen. The mark the good Lord leaves on the water of life, Eileen. You will be saved. I believe you will, because you can resist the cloven hoof on the forehead of your womanliness.
As for that Bruce fuck, that dumb fuck was no fucking good at all. Nobody who ever went to no goddamn fucking Bob Jones University was ever worth an ounce of weasel shit in the good Lord's silver spoon. Tom, he had a pronounced sadomomo statistical drive, and the leanings of that drive could be observed in the men's room where he'd look at your pecker. If you're not careful, that's right, look at your pecker. Everybody who ever went to Bob Jones University is a fairy. You ask how I know. I know. He played tennis. People who play tennis, fags. Typical Bob Jones University type student, fag. And that's the fucking truth. Whew. Now, I like my flax. Ivy League. Ivy League flax may be faggy, but they know how to network. Bob Jones University flax are faggots and don't know network from Natsuki. And on top of that, they're pseudo-momo statistical. And on top of that, they don't talk good. Like Eileen. Eileen, talk. Talk. Some of that good Ivy League talk for Tom. Go on. Don't be shy. Go on.
I'd be delighted to.
You see, Tom? See? Ooh, I call that high-toned talk. That kind of talk I like. That kind of talk is the coin of the realm when it comes to networking, ain't it so? Yeah, she's a modest type, but it's true. So, Doc said these photos come from down the hall from Senator Dick so-and-so from the upstate of his state, the glacial part. 2 days ago, he died, fell on the floor, bam, dead. It was a monster apoplexy. I hear that is what it was. I heard, was it not, Eileen?
That's what it was that you heard, Senator.
So the question is, was it a case of these photographs being an instance of him directing an act of smear against us me, my person? Or is it an instance of his surveillance on the lookout for something that he thought I ought to know before he up and kicked off like that, bam, on the floor, dead? So it's smear or surveillance the way I see it. But which?
That's obviously the way we all look at it here, sir.
Tom, it's an attack on the public morality. That means you.
Well, okay, if it's an instance of something we ought to go public with, we ought to go public with it then, okay? But this Senator Dick, wasn't he one of us? Bob, I used to get a check from him. I used to pray with him at the Holiday Inn in Beltsville. Good Christian gentleman, Bob. And his wife, maybe a fine Christian lady, a little hard of hearing and not a looker.
Not a looker is mild. Tom, she got a face like a Poland China horse.
Oh, but Bob, Senator Dick was a fine man.
A fag, Tom.
No, not Dick.
Senator Dick so-and-so, faggot. It's true, Reverend Tom.
Indeed, the works of the devil exceed the number of digits in the mind of an IBM super fast computer. Praise be to the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Leastways, that is the way I see it. He was another pecker watcher. He was a confirmed pecker watcher.
But our surveillance tells us his surveillance was busy not with watching us, but was busy with watching Bob Jr.
Who's Bob Jr.?
Tom, you know Bob Jr.
You must know Bob Jr.
My son, Bob.
I can't recall I do.
Eileen, stop thinking that thought.
I was not thinking that thought.
What was that? You folks that leave a poor man of God to guess what color the inside of a polecat's asshole is.
I beg your pardon, Reverend.
Eileen called Bob Jr.
Now, sir, it's 10 o'clock.
Call, tell him to get his butt here pronto.
Okay.
Now, Bob, this don't smack of no damn smear. Okay, this Senator Dick was one of us. Our party, our God, our men's club. Just because he served in the other service and not the one we are both veterans of, and lived upstate somewhere there of his corrupt upstate where people act funny and are likely to be Jews, colored, or immigrants from Pakistani restaurants in New York City, and had a slight limp and a somewhat unnoticeable speech impediment onto a piece of shrapnel in his head from the last good war this country had, don't mean most dick.
Like hell it don't mean move stick. He cheats at poker and is a dyed-in-the-wool pecker looker at her. Take it from me, Senator Dick, faggot.
But the Reverend had a point, Senator. Why would Senator Dick want to smear you? It's not a reasonable supposition. You were close friends.
Well, that's where Bob Jr. comes in, I'm afraid.
Hi, Bob Jr.
Hi, I'm Bob.
I'm Eileen. I remember from the hog roast.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Hi, Dad.
Bob Jr., this is Tom. Tom, Bob Jr.
Hello, Bob Jr.
Don't just stand there like a moron jack off. Tom here is deacon of the television church of the techistical wonder of Jesus Christ, autodidact, ain't it that? Tom, a real TV church.
Something like that, yes.
Sit down, Bob Jr.
Bob Jr., is that you?
No, that is a borzoi.
Not that, fool, that.
That thing there?
No, Bob Jr., the senator means that. There.
No, that is not me.
That looks like me. I mean you.
That doesn't look like me.
Bob Jr., come clean. If that's you, just say so. It's okay. But if that's you, I'll kill you, boy. So come clean for your mother's sake. Bob Jr. This is Tom, Bob Jr.
But Dad, that's not me.
Hello, Bob Jr. Bob Jr., are you sure?
Don't just stand there like a moron jack-off. Tom here is deacon of the television church of the techistical wonder of Jesus Christ. Autodidact, ain't it that, Tom? A real TV church.
Bob Jr., it's a very vital concern of ours having to do with a national security matter.
Something like that, yes.
Eileen, it's not me.
Sit down, Bob Jr. I believe you, Bob Jr.
Bob Jr., is that you? I don't believe you, Bob Jr.
No, that is a borzoi. I know you don't believe me, Dad. You never believe me, Dad.
Not that, fool, that.
The boy's got a point, Bob. This here, the thing in question attached to the offending part over here, the part you, Eileen.
That thing there.
That's the part that Deck dot. No, Bob Jr., the senator means that there.
That part only looks that way because it is not what it looks like.
No, that is not me.
What are you driving at, Tom? That looks like me. I mean, you.
That thing there is not a blowjob. It's a borzoi.
That doesn't look
Let
like.
me see. Hot damn, you may be right, but that does too look like Bob Jr., don't it? Bob Jr., come clean. If it's you, just say so. It's okay. But if that's you, I'll kill you, boy. So come clean for your mother's sake.
Can I go now, Dad? But Dad, it's not me.
It looks a little like Bob Jr., but it also looks a little like the Pope. Bob Jr., are you sure?
It looks like Dad, too.
Bob Jr., it's a very vital concern of ours having to do with a national security matter.
Shut up, Bob Jr. Here's $50. Go buy a pair of shoes. Go and buy a pair of normal American wingtip shoes and throw those faggot shoes away, Bob Jr.
Thanks, Dad.
I believe you, Bob Jr. Goodbye, Bob Jr.
I don't believe you, Bob Jr.
Goodbye, Eileen. I know you don't believe me, Dad. You never believe me, Dad.
Goodbye, Bob Jr. The boys got the point, Bob. This here, the thing in question attached to the old Finley part over here. The part you, Eileen.
Goodbye, Reverend Tom.
Dad, that's the part that Deck dot.
Goodbye, Bob Jr.
That part only looks that way because it is not what it looks like.
Bye, Dad.
What are you driving at, Tom?
That thing there is not a blowjob. It's a borzoi.
Let me see.
Yeah,
Damn, you may be right, but that does too look like the Pope.
Can I go now, Dad?
oh, it looks a little like Bob Jr., but it also looks a little like the Pope.
It looks like Dad.
Shut up, Bob Jr. Here's $50. Go buy yourself a pair of shoes. Go and buy a pair of normal American wingtip shoes and go throw those faggot shoes away, Bob Jr.
Thanks, Dad. Wait a minute. Who is this guy? I am Senator Bob's son, not this fraud.
Don't get all hot under the collar, son.
It didn't take too long to explain, Bob.
An idea of surveillance, Bob. Bob. Goodbye, Bob Jr. Goodbye, Bob Jr.
Bye, Eileen.
Goodbye, Bob Jr.
Goodbye, Reverend Tom.
Goodbye, Bob Jr.
Goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye, Bob. Goodbye, Bob.
Goodbye, Bob. Dad. Goodbye, Bob. Goodbye, Bob.
It does look kind of like the Pope.
It couldn't be the Pope. He's still a Christian gentleman, even if he is full-blown antichrist.
Well, I think we can lay to rest the idea of the thing being a smear. If it's not Bob Jr., it's not a smear.
Looks like the Pope with no clothes. Now that means it's surveillance, but is it his surveillance or ours? Dead Senator Dix, I mean.
Maybe this is a matter of the sort that his surveillance wanted to let our surveillance know about.
What's that supposed to mean? Eileen, police, talk Ivy League, that kind of talk is not what I expect of you. That kind of talk is Bob Jones University kind of talk, and that kind of talk sucks hind titty. And not only does it suck hind titty, it gets itself fired, like that fag Bruce. You recall Bruce?
I recall the case of Bruce, sir. You recall that it was I, sir, who first told Bruce to bag it, sir.
Calm down, everybody. Let's not get excited. Indeed, not only should we all not get excited, but perhaps we should all get down on all fours and pray to the Lord for illumination from this case of sadopotomy. On all fours. All right. Christ Jesus, hear us in our prayers and illumine the sick pathways of desire for bad things and cure us of what we should not think about if we want to avoid being chained to the walls of the state home for the criminally insane. And Lord Jesus, we have not gotten excited, but have, as you can plainly see, gotten down on all fours and are praying that you will come into the foul pismire that is the human heart and cleanse it of the odium of knowing far too much about the rub. That soft, seductive rub. The rub the devil delights in and exploits for his fun and games, while we, poor lost sinners, turn upon the spit and roast in the red hot flames of what has no good name, but might possibly come to mind or be invoked with reference to these vile photos of unnatural acts. Photos of unnatural acts capable of rendering a full-grown man happy. Photos of unnatural acts capable of rendering a full-grown man happy should not only not get us all excited, but perhaps we should all stay down on all fours and pray to the good Lord of stone and rubble, the Lord God of goose fat, the savior of our common dementia and our need to be nailed to the death tree like him in the son's agony against the opaque father. Oh, we should stay down on all fours and pray to the Lord for horripilation at the mere thought of such an act, even though in these photos the 7 blowjobs are 7 unconsummated blowjobs, but they suggest the worst. Worse than the actual act would have done did had you come up to that act and said in the voice of faith, blowjob, you stand in the need of prayer, so get up off your knees and pull yourself up by your underpants like a man should and be saved. That blowjob, being a child of Satan, still in his or her heart with Leah and say, time, go to hell, mind your own beeswax, because I is having a good time, thank you. And thus the fate of that blowjob would be sealed in the full horror and knowledge of sin and photos of unnatural acts. Photos of unnatural acts capable of rendering a full-grown man happy. Have mercy. Photos of homo, sado, mystical, meso, sado, momo, dodo, beasto, lesbo, sado, Christmas tree, eroto, catamitical, beastie, phallic, homocentric, quasi-solomitical, eroto, maniacal, beastie, phallocentric. Eroto, follow beastie-centric, momo, sado, ontological, proto-organistic, hyper, panpsycho, super-maniacal, dodo, Gamora, me. Christmas tree.
So damn fucking good at all.
Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Dot is back.
Good Lord, whatever has come over the denizens of the hog farm? All of you down on all fours talking about blowjobs and being happy? You all are lucky I'm not with the oppositional party. This would look like smear.
Back at Dot.
Beer and pizza.
We were consulting the will of a higher authority.
I was chewing the fat with the receptionist over at Dead Senator Dick's. Her name's Dot too. I'm Dot White, she's Dot Black. So we're sisters under the tablecloth of receptionist activity.
Come to the point, Dot.
It seems Dead Senator Dick was under a surveillance for his part in a car park deal in which his hands were not clean. Our surveillance, says the other receptionist, Dot, says the hands were definitely in the till, so to speak, at the time of the apocalyptic attack, which ended him. Dead Senator Dick was no dummy. He needed an object of public outrage for deflection from his own car park scam problem. These photos are art, Dot says, the other Dot that is, art funded by a public agency and performed by artists in his own state. Dot does not say how he came upon these photos, only that they were a contributory cause to his own fatal apocalyptic demise. God rest his soul.
Flowers to the widow. Eileen, remind me, please. Go on, Dot. Go on.
Dot is the secretary. I'm the administrative assistant. Why must I flowers to the widow? Him
Dead
and get from a
Senator Dick
picture.
did not approve of this kind of art,
Really,
even
really,
before it did him in, much as it did in Bruce.
Really?
Bag
Really?
it, Eileen. Dead Senator Dick did not approve of this kind of art on the grounds of not being able to understand the moral implications touching upon its wiggly parts, the sheer touchiness of this and that, and especially the ones that goosed Bruce and beamed Eileen.
One of them decked you too, Dot.
It did not deck me, Eileen. I fell over on account of lunch hour having come and gone, and no lunch in the breadbasket. So, the public funding of immoral art seemed a fine idea of getting people not to think about the car park scam on account of how there are more people in the car park scam than in the published poet and funded immoral art scam, and they all vote. So you see, it makes sense. Even the car park scam victims hate immoral art more than they hate car park scams, or so they think when they are told how to think by their moral betters. That's where you come in, Reverend Tom. You make the people think religious thoughts tending to the re-election of the sage and eternal damnation for the published poets and non-elect immoral acts such as these.
You mean these photos of unnatural acts, capable of rendering a full-grown man happy?
That is precisely what I mean, Reverend Tom. Acts such as these, funded by the American people, are immoral. These acts are immoral even though, in these photos themselves, the things are not in contact with the other things ever, because they are clever, the acts I mean, and so have honored the letter of the law, even though what they suggest is the worst. It is worse than the actual act would have done did had you come up to that act and said, blowjob!
You can skip that part, Dot.
That more than covered that topic, Dot, in full.
So, the fact that in these photos a thing does not touch any other thing doesn't matter, because it's the thought that counts, as the other Dot says. And since the author of the act in question is few and a fairy, it means the logic is a circle squared, a perfect and undestructible argument. Ipso facto, carpe diem. Only he keeled over and dead, did Senator Dick, leaving you, Senator Bob, the legacy of his re-election bid. He did this having curried your favor, knowing your principal dislike of anyone a bit unusual in the American scheme of things. You too have a re-election bid to face, and your dislike of anyone who is a bit unusual, the poor, the queer, the colored, the women, and the others who had their shanties torn down by Eileen while at Dartmouth, is legend among many of them. The unusual, I mean, and they are many. These people do not like you, Senator Bob. They want your hide. Ipso facto, carpe diem. I say, take up the burden of dead Senator Dick's legacy and run with it. Reverend Tom can wrap it in the American flag of God versus crypto Sado Momo and solve his own problem of hands in the till, a matter the other Dot apprised me of, the deer. Simply put, it'd be as easy as shooting whatever it is you shoot in the bucket.
Oh, right in a tree, she's right. She's right. Bob, she's right.
Not the secretary. I need administrative assistant. Really bothers me. Really.
I think we got us a agenda here.
The pizza will turn to plaster. Eat, Bob. Eat, Tom.
Let's have us a drink. Eileen, get us a bourbon. The bourbon bottle ought to be buried in the ant farm somewhere. Pour Dot a drink. Eileen, we got us a bona fide agenda here. Hot damn! Pour Dot a drink. Eileen. Dot. You're gonna be my new legislative assistant. I need a mind like yours to draft all my restrictive language.
Dot is the secretary. I'm the administrative assistant. Why must Dot get to be
Doesn't Dot have balls, Tom?
Not only does Dot have balls, she has faith. Dot possesses, the power of faith. That's a passive understanding. That's a passive all that like touch, to be rubbed, wiggle, and photos of unnatural acts. Photos of unnatural acts capable of rendering a full-grown man.
But Dot is not a lawyer, Senator.
Eileen, it is like the good book says. Ignorance of the law is 9/10 of the law. Here's to Dot and the war against international faggotry. I bet you didn't know. George Bush, fag. Ronald Reagan, faggot. General Schwarzkopf, fairy. Senator Orrin Hatch, flagrant queen Gerald Ford, fag. Richard Nixon, a faggot. Dwight D. Eisenhower, fag. Woodrow Wilson. Where is the $3 bill? Abraham Lincoln, a faggot. George Washington, a confirmed sodomite. Napoleon Bonaparte, fag. Frederick the Great, fag. William the Silent. Norman Conquest. Julius Caesar, a faggot. Alexander the Great, you guess. Cain and Abel. Christ.